Senator Madigan.
Thank you, Mr President. Tonight I'd like to speak on a matter which I believe should be in the forefront of every senator's mind when we consider legislation in this House. That is the dignity of work and the sense of self-worth, gainful employment and a sense of community responsibility that delivers. Whether we are considering the current carbon tax legislation, which I do not intend to speak about tonight, or legislation on land, water, minerals or communities, in fact almost any bill we examine we will be considering issues that affect Australian workers, families and communities involved in the manufacturing and farming sectors. Manufacturing involves real people, real jobs, real skills, real prosperity. And it also delivers tangible social and economic benefits. Approximately 100 years ago in Ballarat, my hometown, H.V. Mackay set up in Ballarat, having come from Almore, north of Bendigo, and built the famous sunshine harvesters. After he left Ballarat, he set up the famous H.V. Mackay Sunshine Harvester Works, the largest implement works in the Southern Hemisphere, and it was also where the harvester case came from. And as much as I would have disagreed with Hugh Mackay on his industrial relations stance, he did provide worker housing and he let workers pay off their homes, and he did have some sense of a community responsibility, which is still there and evident today by the homes that still are dotted around Sunshine and Albion. Australian businesses are not competing on a level playing field, and yet they are competing. And many businesses across the length and breadth of Australia are at the technological and cutting edge. Our manufacturing sector feels that it is under siege, and our farming sector feels like it's being taken for granted. Quite frankly, almost every worker and farmer I've spoken to believes they are forgotten by some members in both the Senate and the House of Reps, not just under this government but under successive governments. As I said in my first speech, during my time here, however long that may be, I hope to take steps to change this situation and restore the confidence of Australia's industry to the best of my ability for the betterment of Australian families and workers. One of the ways I hope to achieve this is by raising the awareness of members of both houses of the daily pressures facing Australian workers, manufacturers and farmers. And it's for that reason that I advised that I would be seeking to establish a manufacturing farming sector parliamentary program similar to the one that we are all aware of for the ADF, which has so successfully raised the level of understanding and support among our parliamentarians for the sacrifice and devotion given by members of our defence forces for the protection of our country and its people. Australian workers, whether they work in the agricultural sector or in the manufacturing centre, they are the people whose hard work and devotion keeps our nations alive. They pay taxes, they contribute to local communities. These people are losing their jobs, and just today 20-odd workers in my hometown of Ballarat lost their jobs at SEM, where the privatised workshops of the Country Fire Authority used to build the fire trucks for Victoria. Also, a couple of months ago, another 25 workers lost their jobs at Walkabout Clothing. And my office being opposite Centrelink in Ballarat, each day I go to the office, I see people walking in to Centrelink to apply for benefits or collect them, and the despondent look on their faces. When people lose their jobs, there's mental health, there's depression, there's drug and alcohol abuse, there's vandalism. we quite often talk here about the cost of things to our nation and what it does to the bottom line, but the worst cost is people. And we talk about intergenerational unemployment, and you go up in around Ballarat, in the working suburbs of Ballarat, and you see the look on these people's faces, and when they're walking home at night with just a total sense of despondency. And it should cut all of us to the quick to think that people feel life is so hopeless. As you would imagine, I was unsure how senators and members would view my proposal for this after sitting through several months of the Senate here, and I had my doubts whether I could get anyone to consider the idea, let alone bipartisan support. However, I can report with great pleasure that I have found considerable support from senators and members from all parties. I can also report that, having spoken to many industries, small, medium and large, that there is an overwhelming enthusiasm for the program, and they have asked to be included in its establishment. These groups, representing hundreds of businesses and many thousands of people and employees, can see how beneficial it would be for every aspect of their industries to be opened up and showcased and examined by their parliamentarians. The opportunity to experience the day-to-day lives of workers, farmers, their families and communities across the length and breadth of Australia would help to give each of us a greater insight into how much our decisions affect their lives. I am hopeful to announce the details of the proposed program early in December in Ballarat, and I've already received a great response from many here and in the other house. With this level of support, I'm sure the program will be seen as worthwhile and will receive the support it must have from the government and the opposition. Thank you.